Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 15th July 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is a motivational quote. Here quote says that if you don't like the road you are walking, start paving another road. So what is the meaning of this quote? So in which direction you are going to achieve your goal? If you are not liking that direction, then you have to dig another direction. Okay, so this is very much important in this UPSC preparation. So if you are giving any attempt, so when your attempt which had been failed means again you have to come back and again you have to start with a new energy and you have to come up with a new strategy. Okay, so now let us try to see first topic. Yesterday I said that I am going to cover this topic of James Webb Space Telescope tomorrow. So that I came up with this topic and the data I collected from this NASA official website. Okay, so this is NASA official website. So where I covered this topic. So this topic is very important from your science and technology point of view. And there is a high chances or high probability of getting question regarding this James Webb Space Telescope in the upcoming mains. So students who are going to write this year means you have to focus on this James Webb Space Telescope and you have to see what is the difference between this James Webb Space Telescope and Hubble Space Telescope. So this is a question which you can get in this mains and there are high possibilities. So now let us try to say context. So context which mainly says that first image from NASA's new space telescope offers the deepest look of the cosmos ever captured. So till now whatever the images that we have captured, so the image for the first time here this James Webb which mainly collected, okay, so this image which is a very much clarity, okay, and it is also very deep. So if you are talking about some facts regarding this James Webb telescope, so actually it is a very much advanced than compared to that of this Hubble Space Telescope. So why we can say this James Webb telescope it is most powerful than compared to that of even Hubble Space Telescope. So there is one difference that you have to remember for sure. Here this James Webb telescope which mainly observe in near infrared light rather than visible part, but here this Hubble telescope which mainly captures images in this visible part. So because of this here we can say here James Webb telescope it is a most powerful than compared to that of this Hubble Space Telescope. And if you are talking about the collaboration for this James Webb telescope, it is mainly by NASA, European Space Agency and as well as Canadian Space Agency. And this Webb it is formally known as Next Generation Space Telescope. Okay, it is mainly known as Next Generation Space Telescope. So these are some important facts. And now let us try to see image of this James Webb Space Telescope. So this is that telescope. So it is having a big primary mirror and it is also having a secondary mirror and it is having sunshade, spacecraft bus, solar array, antenna, stabilization flap and some scientific instruments. So this is the structure of this telescope. So if you see what is significance of this new astronomical discoveries, so whenever we are getting this clear-cut images, so what is the significance? So if you see significance, so first one is by studying these images, we can understand or we can look into past. Okay, we can look into past and we can understand so what had happened after this Big Bang theory. So I think you might have studied about this Big Bang theory in your geography and even in your basic science syllabus, right? So after once this Big Bang happened, that is explosion that led to formation of today's planets, some stars, etc. So we can understand how these planets are formed by using these images. And next one here is James Webb can see backwards in time to just after what happened after this Big Bang. Okay, by looking for galaxies, they are so far away, the light has taken some many billions of years to get from those galaxies to our telescope. So even it have the capability to go and to see backward. And here this James Webb Space Telescope, which is having a largest mirror in the space, and because of this it will mainly look deeper into universe. So because of this it mainly helpful to go back in time. And if you are talking about one more important significance here is this can be helpful to decipher mysteries of the universe. So mysteries such as, for example, so as we all know that universe is expanding so quickly, okay, which is less than a nanosecond after this Big Bang theory. So because of this we can understand whether universe is expanding or not. So we can decipher some mysteries of the universe. And apart from that, we can also explore dark age of the universe. So dark age, it is a period before the gravity which mainly formed. Okay, and next one here is we can understand the formation of planetary system, and we can look for the signs of life on even exoplanets. So we are mainly talking about aliens, right? So this will be helpful to understand whether the life which is present on exoplanets or not. So exoplanets means the planets which are present outside our solar system. So this is the image that mainly captured by this Webb telescope, James Webb telescope. Okay, so you can see they are very exciting, and if you see them, they are looking like a wallpapers, right? So such a beautiful images are captured by this James Webb telescope. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding the bail law. The bail law and the Supreme Court call for reform. So this article, it is at most important, and I collected this article from Indian Express. And this topic will be important from our polity point of view, which mainly comes in our GS paper too. And you can expect a mains question from this topic. So now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that recently Supreme Court underlined that there is a pressing need. So there is a need for reform in the law related to bail. So related to bail, so we need to come with some reform. So this is a thing which mainly stressed by our Supreme Court. And Supreme Court said that we need to come up with a special legislation that to deal with the bail, and this should be on the lines in the UK. So in UK there was one law which mainly talks about the bail. So in the same lines we need to come up with a separate law that deals exclusively with this bail. So this is the thing which mainly said by Supreme Court. So here we need to understand what is the meaning of bail and what are the laws which are present in the India, okay, which is mainly targeting this bail, and even you can talk about bail law in UK. So these are some important things, and apart from that we need to understand why we need to come up with a separate bail law. So what is the need? So these are the 4 dimensions or 4 perspectives you have to refer regarding this topic. So now let us try to understand this. So first let us try to see the details of this Supreme Court judgment. So in this Supreme Court, they mainly came up with a 2-judge bench, 2 judgment, and they mainly gave some clarification regarding the older judgment of Supreme Court, which is mainly given in the Satyendra Kumar Antil versus CBI. So when the judgment was given, that is on July 2021. So in July 2021, so exact date I don't know, okay. So in July 2021, there was judgment regarding this bail reforms in this famous case of Satyendra Kumar Antil versus CBI. So the ruling is essentially a retaliation of several crucial principles of criminal procedure. So whatever the ruling, okay, of court in this Satyendra Kumar versus CBI, so this ruling is essentially a retaliation of several crucial principles of criminal procedure. So here what happened, if you are talking about the jails in India, so in the jails we are having one problem, that is overcrowding of jails. So most of the prisoners who are present in our jails, they are under trials. Actually whatever the action they did, so it is not at seen in the court, okay. So the court case had been not done, and there is no judgment which is mainly given in that cases. So those people are called as under trial, the trial which had not happened, okay. So they are not even accused. So these under trials, are very much highly present in the jails of India, and because of that, 2/3 of the cases, 2/3 of the prisoners who are present in the Indian jails are under trails itself. So even the people, okay, who are present in the under trails in the jails of India, so most of them, I think more than 60% of these under trails, so they had already completed their punishment in the jails. Okay, because if they are doing a small thing, like for example thief, okay, he is a thief or he committed any robbery, so he had to spend a jail of, for example, let us take 6 months. Because of this under trails and because of the increasing of pendency of case in the court, he already spent more than 2 years of time in the jails itself. So it is one of the cause of concern in India. So here, if you're talking about the states of jail in the country, so over two-thirds of under trails are present here, and Supreme Court which made underlined that arrest is a draconian measure that needs to be used sparingly. So here Supreme Court mainly said that if the police, they are going for arresting of any person, so here they have to use this draconian measure, okay, very less. And the court also linked idea of indiscriminate arrest to magistrates, ignoring the rule of bail not jail. So actually there is a one rule that not jail but bail. Okay, so we need to provide the bail. So only in the non-bailable offences we can keep under trails in the jail. So we are not focusing on that. We are mainly ignoring that rule, that is rule of bail not jail. So the Criminal Procedure Code, that is CRPC, was first drafted in year 1982 and it mainly continued to be used with amendments from the time to time. So here if you are talking about laws which are present in India on bail, so first one here is Criminal Procedure Code. So actually this Criminal Procedure Code which does not define what is the word, what is the meaning of this bail. But there are some categories of offences which are mainly given under IPC as bailable and as well as non-bailable. So in IPC we have about the provision of bailable and non-bailable, but not in this Criminal Procedure Code. So this CRPC which mainly empowers the magistrates to grant bail for bailable offences. Okay, so for the bailable offences, yes, here CRPC which mainly empowers this magistrate to grant bail. So it would also involve release of furnishing the bail bond without or without security. So in case of what should be done in case of this non-bailable offence? So in this non-bailable offence, a magistrate would determine if accused is fit to be released on bail or not. So in this non-bailable offences, if they are cognizable, means here whenever they are cognizable, so it will mainly which mainly enables the police to arrest without any warrant. Okay, so this is about the laws which are present in India regarding this bail. So if you are talking about the bail laws which is present in UK, so the Bail Act of UK 1976, so this act which mainly prescribes the procedure for granting the bail. Okay, so this Bail Act of UK which mainly prescribes the procedure for granting the bail, and the key feature is that one of the aims of the legislation is reducing the size of inmate population, and the law also has provisions for ensuring legal aid for defendants, and the act recognizes a general right to be granted bail. Okay, so these was an important law which is present in the UK, and now Supreme Court which mainly said or pressing or increasing the stress, okay, on we need to come up with a separate legislation or separate law that mainly deals with this bail, so in the lines of UK's law. So this is about this topic, and let me know some articles in our fundamental rights which mainly talks about right to life and liberty. Okay, and now let us try to see the next topic. It is regarding data democracy. So actually this topic I covered from this down to earth. So here title says WHO, World Health Organization, bats for passing on genomics technology to developing world. So this article is mainly focusing on data democracy. So this article, it is at most important from your science and technology, and here we are going to talk about what is this genomics. So what are the applications of this genomics? So there are a high chances of getting question in your mains regarding this genomics topics. So please be prepared with this topic. So now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently World Health Organization Science Council which mainly released a report. So the report title here is Accelerating Access to Genomics for Global Health. Okay, so title here is Accelerating Access to Genomics for Global Health, and it is mainly advocating for passing on genomic technologies to developing countries. So if you see some details, it mainly says that genomic surveillance which played an important role in even global COVID-19 pandemic. For example, even the countries like South Africa, they mainly made essential contributions in detecting the viruses and especially the virus variants due to their capabilities in this area. So as you all know that there are different variants that came into picture in this global pandemic time. For example, alpha variant, beta variant, gamma variant, delta variant. So because of these variants, we can see the surge of number of cases, first wave, second wave, third wave and fourth wave like that. So even now we are seeing that genomic surveillance, which is a very important tool to identify these epidemics. So if you're talking about highlights of this report, so first and the foremost thing which mainly says that access to genomic technologies. So whenever we are having a proper access to these genome technologies, that needs to be expanded. So what are the access that we have? So we need to expand this access. Especially we need to expand this access to these genomic technologies in low and as well as middle income countries. In low and middle income countries, we need to improve the access. And it is not ethically or scientifically justifiable for the countries with a few resources to gain late access to such technologies. So for example, if some countries they have the access and if some countries they do not have proper access, means what? Whether it is ethically correct? No, this is ethically incorrect or it is not scientifically justifiable. So because of this, we need to make this genetic technologies or genomic technologies that should be even accessible in these low and middle income countries. And if there is any shortfalls in financing or laboratory infrastructure or any materials and highly trained personnel, they need to be addressed to expand the access to these genomic technologies. So if you want to make avail this technology in the least developed countries, means yes, we will be having some glitches or we will be having some challenges, like there is no proper financing, there is no proper laboratory infrastructure, there is no proper raw materials are required and highly trained persons, so they need to be also addressed. And the benefits will not be fully realized unless deployed worldwide. So here, if you're talking about what are the benefits that you are going to get, if these low and middle income countries they are also having access to these genetic technologies, yes, we will have a full potential. Okay, that will be helpful to fight against any pandemic or epidemic, okay, together, so that it will be having a greater positive outcome. And next one here is only through equity can science reach its full potential impact and improve the health of everyone. So if there is equity means nothing but countries they will be having equal access. Okay, so if all the countries they are having equal access, that will be having the full potential impact and that will be focusing on, that will be also improving the health for everyone and as well as everywhere. So if we are talking about genomics, it is nothing but the study of all of person's genes. So it is talking about study of all of a person's genes, including interactions of those genes with each other and with the person's environment. So here we have the genes of all persons. We are mainly studying all these genes and we are also studying about the interactions of these genes with each other and as well as with the person's environment as well. So this genomics, which is mainly used in different fields like biochemistry, genetics, molecular biology methods to understand the use of biological information in DNA and as well as in RNA. So if we are talking about this genomics, so we can use this genomic especially for the newborn screening. So whether they are suffering from any genetically modified disease or not. Next one here is it will be also helpful to understand disease susceptibility and even screening and diagnosis and prognosis and therapeutic decision. That means which treatment that should be given. Next one is monitoring the disease burden and reoccurrence. Next one is pre-consumption, prenatal testing. So in all these areas, genomics is very useful. So apart from this, medical, okay, medical applications, we will be also going to see some other applications of this genomics. So it will be helpful for controlling of infectious diseases. So it will be helpful for mapping of evolution of those infectious agents. And we can also assess phenotypic, infectivity, pathogenicity of so and so specific genes. And we can also evaluate infectious agent sensitivity or resistance to drugs. So in these areas it is having good amount of applications. And next one here is, it will be also helpful to prevent and manage genetic conditions. So we can evaluate the status of genetic disorder, and we can also focus on screening and as well as diagnosis of a single gene disorder, and we can assess disease susceptibility and as well as predisposition to many chronic illness. And we can also select the medications which are mainly based on mechanism of action for the genetic determinants. And even if you are having any metabolic related disorders, so that will also reduce the toxicities as well. So in all these areas we can use this genomics. And if you are talking about agriculture, so in agriculture also we can catalog or we can index genetic diversity in the wild, and even it will be helpful for commercial trades, to develop the commercial trades and to predict the susceptibility and as well as responses to environment stress. So these are some important areas of application in this agriculture. So now let us try to see the previous question regarding this topic. So with reference to agriculture in India, so how can the technique of genome sequencing, often seen in use, be used in immediate future? So with reference to agriculture in India, so how can the technique of genome sequencing, often seen in use, can be used in the immediate future? So first one here is, genome sequencing can be used to identify genetic markers for disease resistance and as well as drought tolerance in the various croplands. Yes, here we can identify genetic markers, disease resistance, drought tolerance, etc. And the technique which mainly helps in reducing the time required to develop new varieties, yes, and it can be used to decipher the host pathogen relationship in crops. Yes. So here you have to select the correct answer. The correct answer will be 1, 2 and 3. So option D is correct answer. And now let us try to say next topic. It is regarding physical deficit and current account deficit. So as an UPSC aspirant, you need to know what is this physical deficit and what is this current account deficit. And these are the terms that you can see directly in your syllabus as well. So this article is important from your economy, which mainly comes in your GS paper 3. And now let us try to understand this topic. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's macro risk have receded in recent weeks. And now we are facing cause of concerns regarding this physical deficit target, which mainly breached. And even there is a concern regarding this current account deficit as well. So there is increasing of physical deficit and as well as CAD. So it is one of the cause of concern for the government of India. So if you see details, it mainly says that, so we need to identify elevated inflation. So yes, inflation which is very high and it is above the limit of 6%. That is the how much amount of RBI should be maintained by this RBI need to maintain this inflation. That is 4 plus or minus 2, that is between 2 to 6%. And this inflation from last 7 months, we are seeing it is more than 7%. So it is one cause of concern. So a finance minister mainly says that, however, there is increasing amount of inflation, the economic activity in the country is remained resilient. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said by our finance minister. And the data which mainly released, it mainly says that trade deficit which mainly widened in the month of June and it is all-time high of $2.6 billion, and imports had been also increased. Okay, so because of this we are seeing there is a trade deficit. So trade deficit is nothing but whenever imports are more compared to that of exports. So this condition is called as a trade deficit. So what is a trade surplus? Trade surplus means exports are more when we are compared to imports. That is condition is called as trade surplus. And retail inflation which mainly slightly eased to 7.01 in the month of June. So here in this context, the government and as a central bank, they are mainly expressing their fears regarding this global recession. Okay, and even we can see there is a dragging of oil prices as well. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this physical Physical deficit means nothing but, so how much income government is getting, but this income which is less compared to that of expenditure of government. So this is called as physical deficit in simple language. So the shortfall of government's income compared with its spending, that is called as physical deficit. So what is the formula of this physical deficit? That is total expenditure minus total income. Okay, it is called as physical deficit. Total expenditure mainly includes capital expenditure and as well as revenue expenditure, and the total income of the government, which includes revenue receipts plus as well as recovery from the loans and as well as other receipts. So if we're talking about expenditure component, so here the government in its budget, which mainly allocates funds for the several works, including the payment of salaries of government and as well as government workers and pensions, etc. So, and it also focuses on the creation of some assets, for example laying of roads, laying of bridges, etc., and also some developmental activities. So these will come under your expenditure component. And if you're talking about this income component, so income component is made of two variables: the revenue, which mainly generated from the taxes, which is mainly levied by the center, and income, which mainly generated from the non-tax variables. So this is about income component. So now let us try to see what is a CAD, current account deficit. So current account deficit means, so the total value, okay, the total value of goods and services of country, which is mainly more compared to the top this total value of goods and services, which is mainly exporting. So import cost is more compared to the of this export cost, that will lead to this current account deficit. So now let us try to see one question which appeared in your previous year's prelims, that is, with reference to balance of payments, which of the following constitute current account? So this type of questions you can expect in your prelims. First one is balance of trade, foreign assets, balance of invisibles, and as well as special drawing rights. So here balance of trade and as well as balance of invisible. Okay, so they mainly constitute this current account. So foreign assets and as well as special drawing rights, which will not comes under this current account. So correct option will be C, 1 and 3 only. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding monkeypox case. So Kerala reports India's first monkeypox case. So this article is important from your science and technology, which mainly comes in your GS paper 3. And now let us try to see this topic in detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that the first known lab confirmed case of monkeypox in India has been reported in a 35-year-old man in Kerala. Okay, so here the first case of this monkeypox is identified in India. So let me know. So if you are district magistrate or DC, okay, district collector of that so and so area, so what are the steps that you're going to take in this situation when you identify so first case of this monkeypox virus? So let me know your answer in the comment box. So for yesterday's questions, Nawab Ahmed, he mainly gave the good answers for the questions. Okay, so the best answer is mainly given by that person, Nawab Ahmed. Okay, so now let us try to see the details of this monkeypox virus. So how is this monkeypox virus which mainly got to this so and so person? So here this person, he mainly have some contacts with the person who are from UAE. So because of this, he got transmitted from this monkeypox virus from that person. So now the isolation which is mainly done, okay, so we have to see whether it is going to become a pandemic in India or not. So now let us try to see the details. So Union Health Ministry should now make official declaration regarding this monkeypox virus, and we need to go for taking some precautions. So if we are talking about the outbreaks which we can see across the world regarding this monkeypox virus, here in USA, in Canada and some in Europe, there were over 100 cases, and even in Australia. So if we are talking about symptoms, so once a person who infected with this monkeypox virus, they will be suffering from this fever, and also they will be getting rashes on the body surface and even swollen lymph nodes, and they will be lead to some other medical complications as well. So if you're talking about diagnosis, so clinical differential diagnosis, it is mainly includes like observation of the skin rashes or illness, chickenpox, measles, etc. So we're talking about monkeypox virus, how it mainly spreads. So it mainly spreads from the rodents, like bites, scratches, consumption of this bushmeat, etc. And human to human transmission is also possible, and the case in this Kerala because of this human to human transmission itself. And if you see symptoms, fever, intense headache, swollen lymph nodes, backache, chills, exhaustion, muscle ache, and as well as illness lasts for more than 2 to 3 weeks, and as well as rashes which are present on the body. So these are some signs and symptoms of this monkeypox virus. And if you're talking about the next topic, it is about draft disability policy. So we are going to talk about what is this draft disability policy. So this article is important from your GS paper to under quality point of view. So now let us try to understand this topic in a great detail. So if you are talking about this draft disability policy, so recently Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, which mainly invited public feedback on this new draft national policy on persons with disabilities. So the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, they mainly came up with this new draft national policy on persons with disabilities. So if you see details here, so here there are some research findings which mainly says that about 1/3 of disabilities in children, they are preventable. So one good news here is if you are identifying these disabilities in children, okay, so what happens, so we can take some steps to make it is a preventable if detected early. So because of this, in this new draft national policy for persons with disabilities will replace 2006 policy once it is mainly approved. So if you're talking about key provisions of this bill, so it mainly talks about certification. So who are going to give the certificates? That is district medical authorities. So district medical authorities, they mainly ensure that disability certificate will be issued within 30 days of application. And if you're talking about health, a targeted mission to ensure people with disabilities to get health services, they should be accessible and as well as affordable. And next one here is we have this Ayushman Bharat scheme. So the important objective which also includes this Rights of People with Disabilities Act and universal coverage of these people with disabilities as well. And if you're talking about employment, so we need to develop national employment portal. Okay, so under this, every government and private establishment, they will report their vacancies to the Ministry of Labor and Employment, and they will going for updating this portal. And this one here is accessibility. So local body building bylaws will incorporate accessibility standards as they are specified under this existing guidelines or those specified under this national building code. So they are mainly focusing on even accessibility. And next one here is Ministry of Road and Transport and Highways. They will also going to ensure and issue some necessary guidelines for making modifications in the personal vehicles, okay, in the personal vehicles being used by these persons with disabilities. And next one is we are also going to come up with this cross disability early intervention centers, okay, in every district. And we are mainly going to provide some services like screening and identification. And the new policy as per the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, they have been drawn in keeping with the provisions of this rights of this People with Disabilities Act. And they're also having a vision on this National Education Policy 2020 as well. And we are mainly focusing on promoting of this inclusive education for this people with the disabilities as well. We need to also include these people with disabilities under this education under the ambit of this National Education Policy 2020. And if you're talking about what are the constitutional provisions, so Article 41, which mainly comes with this directive principles of the state policy. So this DPSP, which mainly states that the states shall make effective provisions for securing the right to work, right to education and to public assistance in the case of employment, old age, sickness and disablement within the limits of this economic capacity and as well as development. So Article 41 of this DPSP, which mainly states that the state shall make effective provisions regarding right to work, education, right to provide some assistance in case of unemployment or in the case of old age and as well as sickness, displacement, etc. And the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities in 2007, actually it is one of the international human rights treaty, and this treaty which mainly deals with the rights of disabled people, and even India ratified with this United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. Okay, and if you're talking about the question, so there is high possibility of getting questions from this topic as well. So question here is discuss the issues related to persons with disabilities, and also discuss the measures that have been taken by the government for disabled community. So try to write answer, and answer should not be cross this 250 words. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding bridging the gap. So this article which is mainly talking about yesterday's topic, that is global gender gap report. Okay, so this is a continuation of that topic. So already you know that introduction regarding this topic. In yesterday's lecture we discussed that, and now let us try to see some analysis regarding this report. So this topic is important from your society point of view, which mainly comes in your GS paper too. And now let us try to see this topic in detail. So as you all know that India, which is mainly facing struggles to achieve gender equality, and we are mainly focusing to bridge gap between men and women. Okay, it is a long and as well as difficult task that we are mainly facing with. So India has got another opportunity to do much better. If you are talking about this global gender gap report or global gender gap index for 2022, so this report which mainly released by this World Economic Forum, and India's rank is 135 out of 146. So this index, gender gap index, which mainly benchmarks the current state and evolution of gender parity, and is mainly focusing on 4 dimensions. First one is economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, political empowerment. So in these 4 areas, this global gender gap index which is mainly focusing, that is economic participation and opportunity, and education attainment, health and survival, and last one is political empowerment. So we are talking about India's rank. India is doing very bad in this health and survival. So India's rank properly, which is mainly when we are comparing with other neighboring countries of India, so India which mainly scored a poor rank. When you are comparing with this Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Bhutan, they are doing good actually when we are comparing with that of India. And other countries like Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, they are performing worse than compared to that of India in this Southern Asian region. So here this global gender gap index which mainly benchmarks the current state of evolution, that is mainly based on 4 dimensions as I said earlier. So you have to remember those 4 dimensions, that is economic participation, opportunity, and education attainment. Next one is health and survival, political empowerment. So we're talking about during this pandemic times, yes, incomes had been shrunk because of abrupt imposition of nationwide lockdown and because of closing down of manufacturing units, construction sites, etc. So that led to shrinking of income of people, especially women. They faced hurdles regarding food, regarding health, regarding education, and as well as girl child to jobs, etc. So in all these areas, so the pandemic which mainly had a negative impact. And recent National Family Health Survey data which mainly says that 57% of women, they are anemic in nature, and up to 53% in 2015 to 2016, and it mainly increased to 57% between 2019 to 2021. So there is a drastic increasing of anemia. Anemia means low blood levels. And about 88.7% of married women, they participate in these key household decisions, and only 25.4% of women who are mainly between the age of 15 to 49 years, they mainly worked in the last 12 months and they got their salaries in the form of cash. And if you're talking about women, they are having bank accounts, for example saving accounts, but what happened here is, especially the participation of this women in the labor force is very less. And even according to data which mainly released by the CMI, that is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy data, in 2016-17, about 15% of women, they were employed or looking for the jobs. This metric dipped to 9.2% in this 2021 to 2022. So this is the data which is according to the CMI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. So the best way to improve India's abysmal ranking it is to do it with the right by the women. Okay, so the best way it is to improve here is, so we need to ensure the rights of women, and we need to ensure the participation of women in the leadership positions, and we need to bring this woman forward, okay, with the greater access to the jobs and as well as resources. So this is the conclusion. So this is about this topic in detail, and now let us try to see yesterday's questions. So Indus Valley civilization refers to large number of cities, towns, villages which flourished in 3rd millennium BC. Which of the following statements are correct regarding these IVC sites? So Mohenjo-daro, it is the first revealed the existence of Indus Valley civilization. It is not Mohenjo-daro actually, it is Harappa. It is Harappa. So because of this we'll say this Indus Valley civilization as Harappan civilization. Harappa is the largest site of Indus Valley civilization. So Harappa is not largest, it is a Mohenjo-daro. So you have to identify the correct statement. So 1 is wrong and 2 is wrong. So answer here is neither 1 nor 2. And next question is regarding Mesolithic age. So this Mesolithic stage was the transitional stage between Paleolithic and as well as Neolithic stage. So which of the following is or are the characteristics of this Mesolithic stage? So use of microliths, yes, that is small stone tools, yes, first one is correct. Next one here is shift in the pattern of hunting from a big game to small game hunting, yes. Next one here is origin of agriculture and beginning of domestication of animals. So agriculture which mainly came into existence in this Neolithic culture but not Mesolithic. So correct option is 2, correct option is 1, that is 1 and 2 only. Third statement is absolutely wrong. And the today's question is, the first one it is regarding the movement and the leader. Next one here it is regarding this Mopila revolt, Mopila rebellion. So try to read the statements and give me the correct option in the comment box. Don't forget about this. So now I want to make a small announcement. We in Rathod size we came up with this foundational course for this 2023 and 2024. So here in this course we are going to provide more than 600 hours of classes of each and every subject, and we are dealing with each and every subtopic which is present in your syllabus. And we are also dealing with your previous year's prelims and as well as mains questions. Then you will be getting a conceptual clarity for sure. So this course is absolutely beneficial for the students who are beginners and as well as who gave their attempts and they didn't clear UPSC because of lack of clarity. So here in this course, okay, the validity of this course here it is 2 years. And apart from that, we are providing this course for the discount price now. It is just 49,000 rupees for 2 years, which also includes 1 year mains answer writing course and as well as 1 year prelims test series. Okay, so this course is highly beneficial. Please try to join this course. And if you have any queries regarding this course, so please call me on this number 8074765513. And this is also WhatsApp number. You can also text me on this number regarding these courses. And if you want to take individual courses like society, geography, ethics, economy, history, you can take the individual courses also. Okay, so if you want to watch the demo videos, you can visit our website rathodsisacademy.com. There you can register with your email ID and you can watch 3 videos without paying a single penny. Okay, so now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu and the date here is July 15th and this is Delhi edition. So first topic is regarding physical deficit. I discussed this topic and here you can see an article regarding this Godbaya in Singapore. He sends his resignation. So now we can see there is a political instability in this Sri Lankan politics. And next one here is Kerala reports India's first monkeypox virus. I discussed this topic and here you can see one image that is a cloudy catch. So here in this image you can see a fisherman. He is returning with his catch as dark monsoon clouds hover over the banks of this Brahmaputra in Guwahati. So here you have to know about source of this Brahmaputra river and where it is entering into India. Okay, and you have to see some right bank and left bank tributaries of this Brahmaputra. So this will be very important for your prelims point of view. And if you move towards this city page, there is nothing much important. And you can directly move on to the states page, that is page number 6. There is nothing much important here. And this page number 7 also there is nothing much important. And this page number 8 it is editorial page. So here you can see two articles, they are important. The first one is regarding this global gender gap index, and this one is regarding draft disability policy. I discussed those two topics. And there is one article which is important, that is protectionism compatible with liberalism? So you have to know what is the meaning of this liberalism and what is the meaning of this protectionism. So actually in 1991 we came up with economic reforms in our country. Why we came up with this economic reforms in 1991 only? So at that time we are mainly facing this balance of payment crisis. So we approached IMF to get some loans. So to get the loan here, IMF said that we need to go for economic reforms. So because of that we came up with this economic reforms in this 1991. So we came up with this LPG, that is not LPG cylinder, it is liberalization, privatization and as well as globalization. So here liberalization means nothing but we are mainly allowing the private entities. Okay, and if you're talking about protectionism, we are mainly want to protect our domestic industries. So here this article is mainly talking about whether this protectionism is compatible, okay, whether this protectionism is compatible with this liberalization or not. So this is very, very important. So please try to go through this topic once. And if you're talking about this data point, mainly talking about boost for boosters, it is talking about COVID-19 vaccine. And in this text and context, there is one article regarding this forest conservation rules. So here we have to know about what are these forest conservation rules and how it is going to affect this forest dwellers and tribals. So what is the government position on these updated rules? So recently what happened, Congress and BJP, they sparred earlier this week on latest version of this forest conservation rules. So here this forest conservation rules, they prescribe so what is the procedure, okay, to be followed for the forest land to be diverted for non-forest uses. For example, we are diverting this forest land for the non-forest uses. For example, you can talk about road construction or any highway development or any developmental project. So this latest version of these rules, which mainly consolidate the changes to this act over the years, various amendments as a court ruling, they were made public. Okay, so because of this is in news. So here this latest version, which mainly consolidating the changes to the acts regarding this what are the judgments are mainly seen from the years. And prior to updated rules here, state bodies, they would forward the documents to this forest advisory committees, and that would mainly include the information of the status of whether forest rights of locals in area they were settled or not. So this is a very, very important topic, and if you are from anthropology background, you have to see this topic for sure. And if you're talking about next topic here, it is talking about road to rolling out of these labor codes. So what are the reasons for the delay in implementing of these 4 labor codes? So we have to see that. So actually recently we came up with this 4 labor codes: code on wages, industrial relations code, code on social safety, and as well as code on occupational safety. So why these are in news? Because we came up with these rules, all these rules passed in 2020, but till now there is no proper implementation of these rules. So because of this is in news. So here what are the important reasons for the delay here? So central trade unions in the opposition camps are opposite all the rules. So here the first important reason here is, so central trade unions, they are mainly opposing this. For example, you can talk about this Rashtriya Swamya Sevak Sangh, which mainly supported the trade union, and even Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh. It is mainly opposite to this industrial relations code and certain provisions of the code on occupational safety, health, and as well as working conditions. So because of this trade unions, they are mainly doing some protests. So there is some delay that is mainly seen here. So government says that yes, there is a delay in implementing of these codes because of delaying the framing of the rules by the states. So states, they are not framing the rules. So because of this, there is a delay which is mainly seen. And states are publishing the draft rules and inviting the comments on this from the stakeholders on those draft rules. The state had also published the draft rules for the certain sections of the 4 codes. Okay, so this is one more important thing. And the trade unions, they are warning about the protest if the codes are implemented. They say that the center will have to repeal it the way it repealed the 3 form laws. So already what happened, so government came up with these 3 formulas and they have been repealed. So in the same way here, trade unions, they are warning that they are going to come up with the protest, and the same way how these formulas are repealed, in the same way this labor code should be repealed. So because of this is one of the important reason for the delay in the implementation of this labor codes. So first one is states are not framing the rules, and after they frame the rules they need to keep for the public comments. So they are not came up with this framing of rules, how they can go for placing of these rules in the public domain, right? So because of this we are seeing there is some delay in the implementing. And next, if you move forward here in this 12th page, you can see here center gets time to reply on fundamental duties. Supreme Court allowed the center request for the 2 months of time to file a reply to petition, saying that enforcement of fundamental duties on the citizens, including patriotism and as well as unity of a nation through the comprehensive and well-defined laws. So here we have to see after once the government which gave its clarification. And if you move forward in this page number 14, you can see ensure testing for monkeypox, Health Ministry tells states. So as of the first case of this monkeypox which identified in Kerala, so that we need to focus on testing for this monkeypox as well. And this one here is India to give land for I2U2 backer food parks. So India will provide appropriate land for the food parks across the country that will be mainly built in collaboration with Israel, US and as well as UAE. So there is a plan for integrated food parks. It was announced in a joint statement after the leaders of this I2U2 grouping. And actually here in this I2U2 we have India, Israel, UAE and as well as US. So this is very important grouping. Okay, we are mainly coming up with food parks, and these food parks we are mainly focusing on cutting down on the food wastage and as well as spoilage. And there are also a few of the collaborations that the 4 countries they declared that that thing which is mainly declared here, and UAE which is mainly going to invest about $2 billion in India to create this food park. Okay, so this is about this topic. And if you see one more important topic here is draft disability policy open for feedback. I discussed this topic. And next one here it is regarding production of vegetables to go up, which mainly says by the center. And in this world page you can see US vows to use all means to stop Iran's nuclear bomb. So this article is also very important from your international nations. And next one here is IMF agrees to resume Pakistan loan after fuel tax hikes. And next one here is in the business page, that is page number 16. You can see trade deficit widens to record $26.1 billion. Trade deficit means imports are more compared to that of exports. This one is wholesale price rise is to 3 months low of 15.2%. Here you want to know about what is this WPI. So I think in day before yesterday's lecture we studied about the CPI. Now this WPI is in use and you have to refer this some facts. And rupee slides 18 pies and close shy to 80 rupees per dollar. So per dollar here again depreciation of rupee happened and now it is 80 rupees per $1. So you have to know what are the reasons for the depreciation and what will be the impact of this depreciation. Let me know in the comment box. And these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So I covered almost all the current affairs of today. So by this I am concluding. I hope you enjoyed this lecture, and if you are new to this channel, so please try to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon so that you will be getting notifications regularly. And one more thing is, please try to share this video in the WhatsApp groups and as well as Telegram groups such that it will going to reach the large number of people. So that will be helpful for the aspirants. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.